from Significant. This is Crack It in an Hour.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. I'm Simon.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Roman.
And this is one problem, 1 hour to crack it once a week. And two of us know nothing about it. This time that's Jesse and
Us.
I.
Woo.
And Roman's been researching it and is ready to propose it. So here we go. Start the clock.
Let's go. The clock is officially started. All right. So I'm the host. I'm excited. I'm bringing a topic that I love. It's going to be great.
Oh, boy.
My new tat. It's going to be great. All right. So today's topic is about a place that is hotter than it's ever been.
Earth?
The sun.
Anywhere on Earth?
A little closer to home. Name and location
Arizona.
on Earth. No.
Any location on Earth is hotter than it used to be. Hotter than Earth?
I'm not sure that anybody can see
there
the
a
way you just
subtext
looked
here?
at
I'm
Simon.
losing-
No, he
I just wanted
looked
to
at
look
you.
at Simon.
Did you miss the
All
way
right.
he looked
Second
at you?
hint. You guys have known since day one of this spot that I would bring up this topic.
Miami.
Yes,
Oh,
Miami.
Miami. Okay, Miami.
Hi, papi. All right. So you guys know I love Miami. I moved to LA from Miami, 13, almost 14 years ago. And since then, I realized how much my love for Miami is mostly not shared outside of Miami. I think, generally speaking, American people have a bit of a
Low opinion of
a
Miami?
low opinion of Miami. Yeah, thank you. So my problem to crack is how do we change the perception of Miami?
Okay. I like it.
The thing is, the town has been exploding in the last decade. And let's just talk about the last 5 years. So I'm going to do the usual data, right? Because the context is a little different because it used to be like out of love, but now it is kind of, but still many people have moved there. So it's kind of changed to some people, yet the outside perception is still the same.
Gotcha.
So some data showing the growth of the city in the last 5 years. So the population first, the metro population, which I guess is going to be Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach area. It's a pretty big area, but it's grown 325,000 people since 2020. It's a population of about 6.5 million, a little under that. It's plus 5.3% in 4 years. It's fueled by both international and domestic, probably about, I would say, let's say about 60-70% international and the rest domestic.
60 to 70% international?
Yeah. Something that's interesting though, and let's bring it back to domestic. Between just July of 2023 and July of 2024, the growth of that area was more than double the national average.
Okay.
Right? To give it in context.
Yeah.
That's, I guess.
So it's growing like crazy.
It's growing faster than I don't know anywhere else, but than most places for sure. GDP is up 22%. From 2020 to 2023. So 22%, like adjusted for inflation. This is real data, not nominal data. And per capita income is up 30%.
Wow. Okay. That's
right?
crazy.
Like, so money is flowing to Miami. It's not just money, Miami. Jobs are coming in, plus like over 40,000 jobs. Sectors are education and health, trade and logistics, which makes a lot of sense. Professional services, which I think is finance. Finance has moved to Miami a lot.
Well, is that international finance considering the demographics that are moving?
It's also like domestic.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also like massive hedge funds, like really, really like Citadel. You heard of Citadel probably.
Tax-free state never hurts.
Yeah, and there was a big, COVID moment for Miami. Hey, why should I stay, locked down in my apartment in New York? And a lot
And
of
there
people
hasn't
stayed.
been the bounce back,
No,
right? Like
a lot of people
stayed.
stayed. From New York, DC, San Francisco, and LA.
That makes sense.
So I have more data on, like Miami as a travel hub, transportation hub. This is more geo than general geography than general, financial, economical stats. So I'll keep those for later if needed. But despite this whole boom and growth, it's still nicknamed like the cruise capital of the world. And it's still stuck where the perception was 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. Maybe not 50 years ago or 40 years ago, where it was like full on cocaine platform for Colombia and money laundering. I think that's evolved a little bit, but it's still stuck in the, hey, oh, Miami, yeah, sure. Like clubs and parties and
Clubs and cruises.
Yeah, exactly. Clubs and cruises. So,
and Will Smith.
I think Will Smith, exactly.
That was the first thing I wrote down.
I think it's important to break the cliches if we want to think about sustained growth for the area. And I think if you think about it, it's not just about Miami. It's about how does a city or a region, an area, a country, whatever, reinvent itself without losing authenticity.
Yeah.
It's about balancing the hype with the substance to not making the boom just a boom and then a bust.
Yeah.
And also, I think we'll have to talk about the reality of climate and how do you market a place that has both, paradise beaches and nature and now good economy, but also like probably climate disaster looming. So that's it. I'll stop here.
Do you want to drive tourism to Miami, or you want to drive people moving, or just change the overall perception?
I want to change the perception so people have more of an interest in moving, because tourism is different.
They consider it like on par with if you're going to live in a big, awesome, cool city, New York, Chicago, LA, Miami.
Yeah.
Got it.
Which you can probably talk about the study you read and then we couldn't find.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find I mean, it's been an ongoing internet debate for, I want to say decades, but probably not quite that long, of what is the fourth of the big four cities in the US. Like the big three are pretty universally aligned on. It's Chicago, New York, LA. But number 4 is one of the most contested debates. People talk about San Francisco, Seattle, Atlanta, Miami, and Dallas. And it is so hotly debated. And First Consulting talked about recently that it's officially Miami has been named the 4th by the people.
By the people.
But I haven't been able to find any more reading about it since. But there are a lot of debates about.
And we're talking about like fourth most culturally significant.
Mm.
I think it's a combination of things.
Okay.
It's like
it's not 4th biggest market.
No, it's not size necessarily, because that would just be proven through data. It's in terms of livability, cultural significance, work, impact. Like it's sort of like,
Yeah.
the big 4.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
It's sort of like that study. I mean, that conversation is a little more subjective, right?
That's why it's
cool.
been kind of like, it's easy for everybody to nod to New York, California, New York, LA, and Chicago.
Yeah.
But then the 4th one, everybody gets heated.
Yeah.
What do you like? Can you think of an example of a place that overcame a belief about it?
Nashville.
Okay. Yeah. So it kind of went from like country western to kind of tech centric, very professional white collar.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I think
that's a good one.
They're going through
that's
like
a
big affordability crisis now. Like the bus
that feels about right.
Is like in Nashville, from what I gathered, like doing a bit of research. But I think that could be an interesting parallel, even though it's likely way smaller.
Yeah, it is.
Area and also probably. I'm gonna call it, for the lack of a better term, economic diversity, like the different sectors of work that you have. Miami is probably more varied. I would guess.
Yeah.
How much do you think people's people's perception of Miami is wrapped up in or lost within their perception of Florida. Like, are people able to separate? And this is probably a subjective question. I don't expect you to have data on this. I'm curious of both of your experiences. Like, as you were talking halfway through, as you were sort of giving the brief and you were saying, it's known as the cruise capital of the world. Yeah. And I was thinking, and Disney. And then I'm like, oh no, wait, that's Florida. That's not Miami. And then I had this realization that I probably start to blur the idea of Miami, Florida, Orlando together a little bit. And I'm curious if that's
it's
true
a good question. I don't know the answer. I think the people who've been to both Florida and Miami, meaning basically two different places in Florida, including Miami, understand the difference.
Yeah, to me, to me, Miami's a place and Florida's a place in my head. But that's because growing up, we went down to Florida all the time. We never went to Miami.
And you've been to Miami recently. Yeah. We were there together for work.
Yeah, it's interesting because
have you been to Miami ever?
I have been to South Beach, and that's it. And so that's
a great answer. That's because it's a different,
and that's why I think that's also why experience. My perception is sort of just a Florida perception. Because when you say if you've been to Miami and you've been to Florida, you recognize them as two different things. But actually, my experience in Florida has not been that. It's like I went to South Beach and partied, and one time I went to like
you weren't there to Epcot experience the city.
I've never had that experience. So, I can think about some of the things I've heard from Miami, but literally to me, my perception is like party, loud music, lots of maybe like over the top cars and like
over the top cars. Yeah, I can see that.
And then like seafood.
So here's my hot take on just like thinking about this for 5 minutes, which is like Nashville is a great example. And that got my brain spinning, which is like Nashville never ran away from what it was. It just was like a yes and. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like Nashville is still, I don't know if it's exactly this moment, but God knows when I was in the thick of it, it was like bachelorette capital.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But that didn't stop it from also being like growing a tech sector and all these other things. In fact, it was probably just a great window for people to go like, oh, this is actually a cooler city than I thought. And I think the thing about you will probably want to do if you're with Miami is like, it's not like you want to be like, no one here parties anymore. We're grown up, darn it. Like you don't want to
grown up.
Stop it. South Beach is closed. It's going to become an internet cafe. But it's a yes and, right? Like it's like, we've got that, but we've also got this. And I mean, like, one thing with I can't speak to this because I don't understand what any of them look like, but like with Nashville, last time I was there, when they pointed to like, see that giant new building? Yeah, that's Amazon. That was like a pretty good signal to me that I'm like, oh, things are changing here. Yeah. And then the second one being a lot of people I knew suddenly being like, I'm thinking about moving to Nashville, or I moved to Nashville. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And I use Nashville as an example for context, but not like for like.
Of course, Miami's huge compared to Nashville. Yeah. And that's why I was going to say, I was like, and that was a long way of saying is like Miami, it's not like a tall building is going to signal it in a city like Miami, right? Like it's not like people are going to go, oh, great, now it's that. You know what I mean?
No, though, like Citadel moving there was a pretty big signal.
Totally.
What are the benefits of Miami?
Benefits in
great weather.
Anything. Why is it great? What about it?
Why would someone move there?
Yeah. Or why do you think it's special?
Some of the richest cultural diversity, I think, in the country.
Yeah.
Professional, I don't want to use diversity again, but from a work standpoint, you also get to
professional breadth.
Yeah, thank you. Professional breadth. Just like the tropical weather is for some people absolutely amazing. Totally. I love it. It makes you feel on vacation every time you're not at work. Again, linked to the weather is like its location. The ocean is absolutely gorgeous over there.
Yeah, it's totally.
Like transparent waters. I would say it's place.
Messi likes it.
It's
nice.
its position in the world. You get to Europe, to all of the East Coast in the US, all of Latin America. You get to Mexico in an hour. All the Caribbean is around the corner.
So what's not to love?
And then I know a lot of people like to talk about this. The food is actually excellent in Miami, and was recently. I know you like data. You like a little. Let me pull a little piece of data for you, Jesse. On this, it's gonna be. Do I have the source on this? It was recently ranked first for best foodie city in America, outpacing hubs like New York and LA in restaurant quality, diversity, affordability, and Michelin star recognition.
Wow.
14 Michelin star restaurants. Wow.
There you go.
According to
foodie
org dot
and to the Roman Foodie Association.
Yes.
Okay. So what are we we're trying to change the perception of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
In America. We're trying to make people go, you know what? This place deserves more respect, it sounds like, than it receives.
Maybe. Yeah,
okay.
Change the perception in America.
Like if someone goes, I'm from Miami, you don't want to immediately be like, man, this guy loves cocaine. Like, right? Like we're trying to change that.
I'm not exactly sure people would go
no,
there.
that's how people react.
So what's not to love, you asked?
Yes, what's not to love? But like I get some of the perceptions of like, maybe it's just because there's two worlds, right? Just like in any perception challenge, people who have a misperception or people who just don't even put it in the consideration set. Because like the misperception or there's maybe even the third outdated perception. Because like outdated perception you talked about, it's just cruises, beaches, and parties. Okay, we have to show people it's more than that. In my mind, that's like almost your typical tourism ad. Like I remember all the ones about California being like, we're more than just a bunch of hippies with our heads in the clouds. Like, remember that one?
Yeah, it's still there's a version of it still playing. Yeah.
It plays all the time. Then there's the, hey, you're not even thinking about Miami because for some crazy reason, it's not on your radar. And then there's people who have negative perceptions that maybe need to have like overcome. So I'm curious though, like what, beyond some of the outdated perceptions of just being a cruise capital, why is it not on people's radar? What are the negative perceptions?
I think like talking about modern Miami, because that was right in the positive, in the benefits. Like most cities who have grown very quickly, it's overpopulated. So traffic is becoming tricky.
I don't even think people know that though.
No,
unless
they
you're
probably
from there.
don't. But when you go for a few days, you realize it.
Sure.
Real estate's gone too expensive.
Gone crazy.
It's like if you look at Austin, Nashville, all those places that grew very quickly, then suddenly real estate way more expensive than it should be. And then I think it's very personal. You don't like humidity, then you don't want to live in Miami. But that's you see what I mean. Then
Miami as a woman with bangs, Miami's just out for me.
It's out.
It's just like it's the bangs or it's Miami. It's one or the other.
If we're talking about Miami, I think which we are.
Yeah. Oh wait, what?
We're talking about Miami. Just in case you didn't know. Part of me is just like, look at what are I'm just going to tell you so much of it comes down to signals, right? Like what are the narratives? What are the people? What are the things? What are the media that you see from those cities? And right now, if I think about like this is dumb, but like when I was a kid, Full House made me think San Francisco was cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just, it did.
Yeah.
And when you think about like, what are the signals coming from Miami right now? Like generally speaking, I don't know enough about influencer culture or any of those things specifically that are doing it, but like there's the Real Housewives, there's the, Messy and all of that stuff there. And then I think generally speaking, if I was to guess about this is a generalization, Miami. So again, but that's what we're trying to fix here, which is like most of the signals coming there are kind of like intentionally audacious to some degree, right? Mm-hmm. Like they are like larger than life, bigger and ostentatious. And I think a lot of America doesn't like that.
No, Ambitious and ostentatious, I think, are different. So I
agree.
think you mean ostentatious.
I do mean
because
ostentatious.
America likes ambition.
Yeah, I do. Sorry. Yeah, like ostentatious, I don't think America always likes.
No. Yeah.
And I think that's also why.
That's interesting.
And like that's one of those things where it's like when I start thinking about Miami, it's like I'm not saying don't show that side, but it's not being balanced out by something else. Do you know what I mean? Like LA has crazy celebrities, but it also has other things that balance it out a little bit more.
Yeah. Culture in general.
Yeah. There's a culture diverse. There's a diversity of signals coming from this city, whether it's surfer culture or Hollywood culture. You know what I mean?
Or even more. Yeah.
And I feel like the culture signals coming out of Miami are a little more homogenized, but I'm not following it super closely.
I think that is perception.
Yeah,
that is pure
it could be,
perception.
Right? Am I perceiving that, or am I seeing that?
It's not signals. It's perception, because like you have so many different rich cultures in Miami.
Totally.
Like in the history of Miami, but then in the evolution of Miami. Like, and they're today combined, like Cuban culture, Haitian culture, Colombian culture. Most of South and Latin America is represented in Miami in some way, shape, or form. That's interesting.
Totally.
And now I think what's been really interesting in the last 5 years is mixing this with a little more traditional East Coast older money.
Right.
Which has happened.
Yeah.
And when you go to Miami today, it's different. And that blend suddenly is like, I mean, I lived in Miami pre this and I loved it. The richness of that culture, mostly driven by Latin American cultures. Today, mixing it with a little more traditional American culture is fantastic. It's the only place in the world where you have that. And
you're not hearing about that, though.
You're not hearing about that at all.
Yeah.
Like it is an opportunity to unify a narrative around the richness of culture, around the probably global finance, around the arts.
Right.
And
yeah, we didn't even talk about the arts.
And about flipping. I think Miami has an opportunity to, because the most important thing that I completely forgot to put in my answer to you, Jesse, about what's not to like is hurricanes.
Yeah.
Like many people will not go
hard
there.
Pass.
Like hard pass on hurricanes, right? Here, it's burning. In other places, it's earthquakes. I mean, here too. And
wait a minute.
We had a tsunami 2 weeks ago.
We have two. Miami has hurricanes, right? Which is a big deal. And so, but there is an opportunity, I think, to position yourself as a city that is resilient when it comes to climate. So like, how do you become about innovation and climate resilience, not resilience in a flippant middle finger, nothing will happen.
And you also don't want it to be like a Red Cross fucking
resilient in a, we are going to be innovative.
Yeah.
We're going to be resourceful. We're going to rally against it. We're going to be smart. We're going to change the way we approach urbanization. We're going to respect what's coming. We're like, there is a narrative there that no one can own and will own in America, that some other places in the world are beginning to own. Like Singapore is doing a pretty good job at this, and other places.
It's obviously very personal opinion, but that to me sounds like a thing that rallies insiders. Like it rallies the people who already feel close and tied to Miami. Like when you already live there, you part of the community, you love it. You sort like resilience has always been a theme, at least for me personally. That's sort of like, we're gonna like double down on like where we are, not like, oh, I'm gonna move to that place because
it doesn't make a place romantic.
No, but it makes you put it back in your consideration set if that is a thing that if the seas,
sure, if you're reframing the fear of hurricanes as sort of like a whatever natural disaster can happen.
I should be more precise. I'm reframing the sea level rising and part of the city being underwater by 2060 and 2100. That's what I'm reframing. If some people are like, I'm not going to be buying real estate in Miami today because 30 years from now it's going to be worth nothing, then knowing that there's resilience and innovation,
we're working on it.
Yes, is going to probably help you reconsider it.
I mean, when we're talking about like top line perception, though, I think I'm with you, which is like, I don't know if that's like on my list of why Miami. that probably doesn't hit top 5 for me.
Yeah.
I don't think.
So interesting.
Like back to your point about the cultural signals, because I think I do buy into that. And I think you said it was homogenous, but I actually think it's the opposite, which is it's very siloed in different sort of places.
Probably,
it's like sports, arts, music, food. And there's no like, I'm going to say something sort of generic, but I do think it's true that let's just look at younger generations moving to new cities. I think they look for cities that feel like a reflection of their identity. And I know that is such an overused concept.
That's a really good point.
But let me just say, and then when you've lived somewhere for a while, you really start to assume that identity. So like New York, right?
You reinforce it almost.
New York is gritty. It's underground. It's like the harder life. And people like love that when you like, you either because you chose it and it's harder and you love talking about that.
It's the best.
In California, it's laid back, it's pop culture, it's Hollywood, it's hippie, like, again, it's not that that's the total experience, but there's like an identity marker there.
Yeah.
Austin, even as Austin was growing, it sort of became like this place for misfits. Like it really adopted this
thing.
Keep Austin weird.
Exactly. Keep Austin weird. And it's not just the cultural signals. It's like a unifying identity
narrative
that I don't feel like Miami has, because I'm like, I see the Art Basel. I see Messi. I see the Cuban food and the other influences on culture. But if I'm going to move somewhere, even now as an adult, when I think about moving somewhere like New York, part of the appeal for me is that like gritty, I'm like, I kind of want to like live that like hard New York life. Like, let's do it. I don't know what's drawing me to a place like
That's
Miami.
exactly what we're trying to crack.
We got to crack.
That's exactly
what's the brand? What's the brand narrative? What's the one sentence?
What you said is exactly what we need to do, I think, is unifying the narrative, because there's multiple narratives. What is the unifying narrative?
Yeah.
Like you could argue, Austin has probably 10 different narratives that I don't know.
Yeah,
but we know a couple. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why when you said, and I know that you were solving sort of a specific barrier, but when you talk about resilience,
that's one of the narratives. What I said was we need to unify the narratives.
Yeah.
And one of them is resilience.
Yeah.
There's a narrative about quality of life. There's a narrative about being probably a global finance hub today. There's a narrative about cultural diversity like nowhere else. There's a narrative about arts and culinary arts, and I think resilience is a part of them. But that might be a very European view, because when you talk about Miami to anyone who gives just a little bit of a fuck about the planet outside of the US, they will tell you, the sea's like, it's going to be underwater anyway. But in the US, people don't care.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's just not happening.
The idea of yeah, we're fine. This is all fine. The idea of like, it's too flabby, but like this idea of like the best mix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there is something in if you went all in on that diversity just happening to be in what is currently like a paradise.
Yeah.
There's something very interesting
Paradise
about
Chex Mix.
Paradise Chex Mix. But like there is something very interesting in that, because like you could capture like if the food, culture, lifestyle and all that, like that's obviously an amazing draw. The weather is still a massive draw, but it's grown up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Those are three key ingredients.
I'm not trying to like solve this with a line by any means, but at some point I wrote down it just spoke to me as somebody who's never considered Miami. And as we were talking about the weather and the food and the cultural diversity, I wrote down the idea of live like you're on vacation, which is interesting to me because I've never thought about, I've always kept vacation and living as separate thoughts. And sure, we live in California where the weather's beautiful and we talk about the beautiful weather, but I've still never I've never felt like I was living like I'm on vacation here in LA. Maybe that's part of the neighborhood I live in. I don't wake up to the beach every day, but it just was an interesting thought to me because it reframes like, you eat differently when you're on vacation. You seek out more more unique options. You look for more unique experiences, and like making that part of your daily life was just, for me, the first time I was like,
Your
okay,
mindset's different. Yeah.
maybe.
It's interesting you say that. I don't know, I go there at least once a year, if not more. But a few years ago, I was there during a holiday break, I think. And then another like very close family of ours, very good friend of mine who, Yanis, was there. And we ended up chatting on the beach, and it was his first time there. And he was like, this place is actually pretty cool. I'm enjoying Miami. And I tell him, look, when I lived here, I've actually never actually needed a vacation. The same way I did when I lived in Paris or Hong Kong or now LA. Like, there's moments where you're like, I'm done.
I gotta get out of here.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's never happened to me in Miami. And now Yanis lives in Miami. And he told me, I remember when you said this 5-6 years ago. It's so true. So just there is a thing about there is something there.
I mean, I think that's
the flip
interesting.
side is also from personal experiences. And I think that's changed. And that's why I'm like really, really excited about that change. Is too many people, I think, unproven, just my personal opinion, too many people move to Miami as a goal in life for a certain period of time. And when they got there, even young people, 30, 35, 40-year-olds, like young-ish, whatever, not retired. When they got there, suddenly the level of ambition was dropping professionally. And
their level of ambition.
Too much fun.
It's like they're almost going there and they start chilling out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like cruise control. And that was like the downside that's the downside of like live like you're on vacation. I think that's changed a lot.
You think it's more of a grind now?
With the influx of businesses that come from all around the country, to be honest, and outside of the country. But that was a bit of like, these are the two thoughts that came to my mind when you said live like you're on vacation. But I love, I see what you mean.
And we can debate like whether endless ambition is a good or bad thing too, because I could also argue, like, I don't think that the rise of like work-life balance is going to dissipate any time soon. I think people are endlessly going to try to figure out how to achieve that idea of balance. Yeah. So, in some ways, the downside of what you're saying is actually exactly what a lot of people are looking for, which is like, why should my whole life revolve around endless ambition? I feel like Simon has an idea. He's fair laughing enough. About something.
I just wrote down the dumbest line ever.
He's going to beat the other line that you said was the best he ever wrote.
I was just like, Miami, it's business casual.
Yeah. This one definitely not in the top 5.
No, not in the top 5. But yeah, I think you're selling. I don't know. You're selling like, and what I'm about to say might be false, but you're selling some of what California has to offer, but at a much more manageable scale. Like, it's hard to feel that way in LA because where you live completely changes your experience. And I'm sure that's true in Miami as well, but I imagine it's a little bit to a lesser degree, and there's less sort of spread in the way there is here. But
yeah, even geographically.
I mean, the one thing that Miami is really far behind LA on, from my personal opinion, is creativity. Yeah. So it's growing. The art scene is booming. The culinary scene is booming. Creative businesses, when you're in the creative industry in the broad sense, very few people think of Miami as the place to go. And everybody puts LA in the top 3 globally. Not even in the US, right? Top 2 in the US, probably top 3, top 5 globally. Yeah. So LA is, and we had, a long chat about LA a few months ago, but LA is still considered undeniable. It's still a creative capital of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the other things that's, I know what I'm about to say is almost silly because it's a chicken or egg conversation, but I think we're talking about perception, and there's an idea that's very tied up in perception, which is reputation. And I think as young, ambition is a part of most people's lives. I think separate what I said before about endless ambition, but I think ambitious young people want to move to cities that give them like a reputation. Like, oh, you lived in New York. Oh, you lived in LA. Oh, you worked at a whatever insert industry here in New York. And so I know that that's part of the perception creates reputation, but it's also interesting to ask the question, like, how do you create reputation to help shift perception? Maybe you can't separate those two things.
Just do the same thing, right? Like that's what we're trying to crack, isn't it? Sorry, am I misunderstanding what you're saying?
I think of them as slightly different. I mean, that's why I said it's chicken or the egg. It's maybe they're not able to be separated, because if you shift people's perceptions, the outcome is a better reputation for the city.
Yeah.
But I think I'm just thinking about, like, perception to me is very specific. Like, there's this misperception and you need to shift it. Reputation to me is like an overall feeling about a place as like is it a cool place to be? Is it an important place? Does it give you a sense of status? Does it give you that's different than just how you perceive it? But I understand they're very similar. That's why.
So go ahead.
Of that, like 325,000 that have moved there since 2020, like, do you have anything on the ages?
No. Miami's not, I don't know if that's where you're going, but Miami is a much younger area than the rest of Florida.
Yeah, but is it like, do you have the same, because so much of a narrative is written by the people who moved there young, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm just curious, like, you know, like, obviously, like, I think what you're saying is like, people are moving to New York in their 20s to be New Yorkers, and then finding that New York life in ways, shapes, or forms that sort of confirmed their perception of what it was meant to be. And it's the same with San Francisco. You go there to be a tech person. Good news. You're going to be able to be a tech person quite easily.
Right. You go to San Francisco, you spend 10 years working in tech. You've worked at some of the coolest unicorn brands.
Exactly.
And then you're like, yeah, then I moved to like outside of Nashville, bought a house and decided this was the life for me. But you got the like badge and status of doing the thing. And I know this is all wrapped up in trying to brand Miami.
I think we're going in circles. Let's try to think about either other cities in the world, or what other parallels can we draw from other industries. Either or, and let's see where that gets us. Let's talk about Dubai. Dubai was like a shithole in the desert. Literally, old fields, right? What, 50 years ago? 40 years ago? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Right? And today, it's probably seen as top 5 business hubs in the world.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, like, it's also seen as, like, the story of Dubai is a story of, you can come here and make it no matter your background in a way too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Legislation and has helped.
Yeah.
But the reason I wanted to talk about Dubai is that if you go anywhere else, you're going to go to history. LA, we talked about it. It's the history of LA, about optimism and, you know, people who were rejected, who came here to build the city. New York is a city of immigrants, like the resilience, like all of it, you're going to go to history. The Dubai is one that doesn't have as much history as a modern city. So, because if you go to Miami history, I don't think you're going to get to where Miami is today necessarily. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to find. But you're still fighting
it. You are still fighting it. Like, you can't erase it.
No. I don't think there's anything to fight in the history, because the
perception.
No, because the history. I'm talking history. I'm talking centuries ago. Like, the history isn't about, you know, cocaine addicts and South Beach and in clubs. But it's not necessarily as representative of the modern Miami. Like, the resilience of New York in the history is still seen today. The optimism of LA is still seen today, right? Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah.
And the reason I mentioned Dubai is, like, Dubai literally has no history. How did they establish themselves as what they are in the last, honestly, 20 years, maybe not more? So legislation was one.
Pump a ton of money.
Yeah.
Money, right? Investment.
But the perception, how did people started seeing it as I'm going to go and still today,
there's also like a level of, there's like, I mean, when I think of Dubai, like, to me, it's like, it's a crazy project.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, the things they've done there. Yeah. Like terraforming entire oceans and things like that. Like, you're talking about something that I'm like, that's like, wow.
Can't even fathom.
You know what I mean? So like, there was like, it was like, to me, Dubai is kind of like a, if you build it, they will come, that really like came true. Whereas like the thing with Miami, I'm trying to figure out is like, again, is like, are we trying to fight against the fact that people don't take it seriously? Is that really the misperception that you think people struggle with? Like, what I'm trying to get at is like, what is the core problem that they're dealing with from a perception perspective? If I had to guess, one of it might be it's just a party town. Another one, frankly, with some people would be like, it's in Florida, and that's a deal breaker for some people.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just trying to think of like, what are the things that, cause like, if I have a clear understanding of that, I can better understand how you can go about it. Because like, again, I mean, I went there, and having gone there, you just go and you go like, oh, it's a lovely functional city with a lot of business happening and some really beautiful, like there were some streets where everything's like overgrown, like it's a jungle, and it's really beautiful. And you know what I mean? Things like that.
Yeah.
But from the outside,
I think back to
Beach.
your question of like, what are we fighting? It's many people have been there, and most of them have been there for like a bachelorette party or a bachelor party for 3 days in South Beach and gone to a big club, and they're like, oh, I'm not sure I like Miami.
Right.
You know, it's like
when
saying,
people go to Hollywood and they're like, I don't like LA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's I was going to say, and go to Paris. Like, I went to the Champs-Elysees. Paris was great. Like, it's like, wait. And it's the same thing. That's the perception you're fighting is the people who've gone, spent 3 days and partied, and, you know.
Because I don't think you want to go like do business in Miami. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I think you want to make, I think that's where Jesse's going is interesting. You're making it about the quality of life.
Yeah.
Which is,
well,
did you see when you're in LAX, like for the last at least year, the billboards that are everywhere are just about the Santa Monica Mountains?
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't notice
They're like
that.
every single terminal I've seen. It's like, it's either like perfume ads but there's nothing about LA that's not that it's Santa Monica Mountains.
Interesting.
Like, it's all about the nature that you can access in LA, which I think is a good point because no one thinks about LA as a place in the middle of nature. And it is.
This ties to what I was just starting to think about, which I think one of the ways that you begin to shift the perception of a place is in small, specific pockets at a time. Oh. I don't think that because as you guys were talking, I was literally sitting here thinking, okay, if I was going to approach this like a traditional brand strategy project, I'm like, okay, there's an audience segmentation here, right? I would ask myself like, who do I think is most likely to be able to want to move to Miami? Because when I think about like, okay, we talked about why people might go to New York. We talked about why people might go to LA. Then I start to think about all of the cities that have really sold themselves as these like amazing college towns.
Yeah.
Not everybody's looking for a college town, right? But there are a lot of people that are. So all of a sudden, the Lexington, Kentuckys of the world and the, Virginia, like Richmond, Virginia, like you're like, okay, like cool. Yeah, I kind of want to move there because I'm looking for that specific thing. And they begin to sell something specific. A city like LA that has a good perception or has a lot of attention, they're going to grow it by continuing to find the pockets that people don't know about. So I start to think about maybe everything that we're talking about is just a starting place. Like maybe you begin with you identify that probably one of the biggest trends is the desire for work-life balance. And you just start selling the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to on its own create the identity for Miami, but you kind of have to pick one thing and just drive that home over and over again until people are like, I get it. It's like living on vacation. And then you're like, but also it's like living in an art museum. And you're like, living in an art museum? That's cool.
And you can grow a career here.
Yeah. I mean, I know those sound very generic, but
it's interesting because I was actually going to go there because it's like, I don't know, at some point we said we got to unify the narrative, but probably it's the opposite of what we got to do.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
You're saying like, go find what's interesting to who and go talk about it. And then you use traditional, your usual marketing channels.
You segment the market, you figure out what people are looking for, and then figure out what parts of Miami you can sell to those people based on what they're looking for. Okay, 50% of this market, like work-life balance is the number. I'm sure there are so many surveys that have asked like, what are the top 10 things that you're looking for in a new city? Or that, people are constantly measuring movement across the US. So it's like, I'm looking for quality of life, cost of, whatever. Yeah. And then you're like, okay, cool. Let's let's attack those one by one, but with a unique Miami perspective. I think you ideally get to a place one day where all of those things add up to a unifying identity of Miami. But I think if you just come out of the gate and you try to say Miami, it's the blank city, people are going to be like,
can't do that.
No.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things that you could go at.
Yeah.
To your point, right? Like, which is like the diversity of the opportunities and things that get people excited. It's a feature, not a bug. Like it's the thing that you're going to go in on.
One of the other things I was thinking about, like as we talked about the existing sort of party perception, I also think the like Miami University contributes really heavily to that. Like I see pretty much everywhere in Florida, personally, to me is like party school. And I do think when you're talking about like younger,
how dare you?
Sorry. I'm sure there's like, I'm not saying they're bad schools. I'm just saying they're
Miami's
party
a good
schools.
school.
I actually don't know.
Yeah, I'm
school.
not saying it's a bad school, but I feel like they're known perceptually as like party schools also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of big football teams.
Because there's huge, exactly,
like,
huge football culture, huge, like, I mean, great. Like, I love that. I think it's great. Yeah. I'm just saying that also some of it's wrapped up in like the youth university culture within those cities. And I think sometimes universities have a bigger impact on the city itself, like especially to the younger generation than maybe we give it credit for in terms of influencing an overall perception. I'm not saying we need to change the perception of the universities to change. I'm just saying it's a force that's working pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably for that generation.
Yeah. Okay. I'd like to live like I'm on vacation.
That's it. We convinced you.
But I think it's like it's like raising the level with a work-life balance, right? Like it's like the food is good, the culture is good, everything here is pretty good. I'm just trying to figure out a way to twist it to make it a little more interesting now. You know what I mean? Because like on that zone, it's like saying like it's great.
Yeah.
I think, not all, everybody say, every place is unique. I think I'm not gonna make friends saying this, but I think I can draw parallels between Austin and other places and Nashville and other places. Miami is completely unique in the world. Completely unique. There's no other place because of that mix and that blend.
Interesting.
Like there's American cities, there is a way they've been designed in certain parts of the country, right? Not obviously. Some areas of the country have grown later than others, but if you look at, I don't know, let's say you take a big chunk of the heartland, that you see the way they've been designed. It's kind of like also, you can see similarities, you can identify similarities. If you're a total stranger and you go one weekend there and one weekend there, if you go to Miami, it's all completely unique and different.
It's hard. It's really hard for me.
It's impossible to market that way. So you can say, "Hey, we're unique and different." I'm just making a point that it has a thing that is like you go to Hong Kong, it completely.
Well, like I mean, like in you know what I mean? In Canada, like basically, like Quebec City is a place that everyone's like, that's like as close as it gets to Europe. Basically, it's like in old Quebec City, it's like you're as close as you can be to Europe, and you're like, okay, I get a frame of reference of how it's different than everything else there, at least. You know what I mean? Like it just allows it to be a differentiator because Canada's the same. Like a lot of cities look the same. It's as simple as that, right? And a lot of cities like to say they are different and they're not that different. But I just, again, like with Miami, like you have tropical weather, which is really cool. You got this incredible mixes of culture. I'm just trying to think of like, I'd need to sit in a room and like brainstorm more than that though.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Funny. I know that this is completely false, but because I have no like relationship to Miami and I really haven't spent time there, the entire time that we've been talking in my head, I'm like, so it's like basically LA. It's beaches, it's palm trees.
Well, that's the problem.
It's like I'm like, cool, I get it. It's like smaller LA, but like also has its own flavor. Cool.
Yeah.
So then when you say it's completely unique, I'm like, Well, I was. I put it in a pocket in my brain.
You got to feel. You got to go and you got to feel it. If you go there, you'll be like, oh yeah, I get it. It's very different. And also, it's we didn't talk about tax, but it's a thing for a lot of people.
And on that note, we're moving to Miami. Yeah, it's a tough one when you don't.
It's really hard
when you don't know it, when you don't feel it, when you.
Generally speaking, I think destination tourism isn't that easy.
No,
because it's so easy to fall into the tropes of here's
look at that
lovely beach.
But
there's also a modern building and I signal.
But I actually think tourism is almost easier than convincing somebody to actually commit to moving there.
Well, we've kind of talked about things that could work for both because we haven't really talked about the jobs component, right? So far, if you talk about the arts and the food and the quality of life, the beaches and the ocean, this all applies to tourism. We've been circling around things that we think, and maybe the thing, obviously.
Yeah, I know, but that's the problem. To Simon's point about wanting to go one step further, I'm thinking everything we've talked about is sort of a better solution. It's it works for tourism, but is it really enough to
sustain?
But even I don't think it's enough for tourism. I don't think we crack the tourism because then you fall in, you fall in the usual tourism tropes.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard.
Stumped.
Tourism's pretty hard. Destination marketing is, I think, tough.
Well, you're trying to say, basically, it sounds like what you're trying to say is it's got a bit of a soul, right? It's not just all shallow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then on top of that, when you add, you should move here. The thing I keep with, let's put New York aside because I think New York's an anomaly.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times when people think of a city, there's certain, if they're thinking of moving to a city, there's certain either, I don't know, you call it careers they're pursuing or certain types of things that you get and understand. San Francisco is most obvious with tech, but I think with LA, we could probably list 3 or 4 that are you come here.
Even just one,
you know what I mean? Entertainment, you know what I mean? Exactly. And then even when I think of there's other places as well that kind of come to mind for certain places. Obviously there's a few that are just so big, it doesn't matter. But with Miami, it's kind of in that funny spot where it's huge, but it's not really known for anything specific, but it's also big enough that it shouldn't be known for anything specific. I don't hold that against Chicago, but at the same time,
CPG, I would put Chicago.
I would say CPG is
I agree.
Pretty
CPG,
strong CPG market.
Yeah.
Most of the Midwest, not even
and
just
Boston
Chicago.
is medical and more education and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
Miami is increasingly dubbed the Wall Street of the South. So it is going to a finance place since 2020. But I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's.
And also, is that narrative as mass as the truth of it? Do you know what I mean? Is it about pumping out that narrative?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It feels like a narrative that's mostly New York to attract finance people from New York.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, but I have nothing to prove that.
Yeah. Because that's part of it, right? Seattle's tech. You know what I mean?
Is it? Do you associate Seattle with tech?
I associate Seattle with tech.
Just because of Amazon? Because
and I know that's a general, and Microsoft.
Boeing too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put Boeing in tech.
Totally.
There's a bunch of big Starbucks
and
in
all
Seattle.
Places
you have a bunch of big non-tech
have that
in
diversity.
Seattle.
But I can't peg, and I'm not close to finance, admittedly.
Yeah.
But
no, it's a good point. Obviously, I don't want to mention cruise lines. So
exactly.
Yeah. It's a very good point.
Yeah. So it has that working against it too, because it's what are you going to, and also it sounds petty if you're well, we also got cool jobs,
Yeah.
Totally.
You come here for a career,
I feel like I need to take 2 shots and think about Miami.
You probably should go before you take the shots, and then it's going to help you think about Miami.
Is there a weird sort of it feels further away than it really is thing to it?
Oh, that's interesting.
Like
the physical distance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
you're like not part of the US.
You're not part of the places that really matter in a weird way. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to be a power player,
as
like
far away from everything as you can get.
Yeah, but in a weird way that's like, no, this is a lot
the
more
most
important.
American city.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like there is something really like counter culture to that. Very like you take the idea that it doesn't feel like anywhere else in the world, but instead of saying like, it's really unique, you're going to have such a unique experience. You talk about, you make it feel like you're
a different
physically
form of America.
distanced from everything else and everyone else you know.
But actually you can bring the physical distance to the soul of it. Like to that, because some people call it the most un-American city.
Yeah.
Because of the vibe, because of the different cultures from all around the world.
I like that.
And there might be a thing there, because at least you're taking a position. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You're taking like you're
standing for something.
You're standing for something. Thank you.
It's its own place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're not trying to go after. Yeah.
Because like I could. People would kill me for this, but I could make an argument that like Dallas and Houston, which are very
Americana.
I've been to both, very American. And feel very Texan as well, and things like that. Whereas like Miami doesn't even feel like Florida. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like it's
the
own,
furthest thing from what you know.
Yeah, and it's that's
like, really interesting. I think there's what's interesting is that you can like stretch that on a scale. Like there are some people who literally want to like run away from everything they know, and so you could dial that up, or you can just make it feel like, hey, this is like a fresh, different experience.
Right.
Like I like that there's a spectrum within that idea that you can dial up or down.
And it's very, very good for today, because to your point about the perception of Florida, especially right now in the political context, what Florida is associated with, or who it's associated with for a lot of people.
Definitely.
That's why I don't want to go there.
Yes.
The most un-American city is a clear.
And actually, this is a very clear signal, yes. And actually, that's part of what Austin did back in the day. Like, I remember when people used to say that Austin was called the Little Blue Oasis in Texas.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
And it was. And that's, I mean, you know.
I didn't know it was the saying the Blue Oasis, but yeah.
And I don't know how popular that was, but I think a lot of people referred to it as the Little Blue Oasis. And it was obviously like, not only it kind of spoke to the misfits and the keep it weird, but it also took on this identity of being almost anti-Texas. I think now they've blended those things very beautifully.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Austin is anti-Texas, but at the time it felt like a safe haven within Texas that was sort of like, we reject what the rest of Texas is saying.
It had a lot more college town vibe for sure.
Well, it wasn't just
even
that.
Not just college town. It was
like political.
Political.
Yeah.
But sorry, like, but most college towns are generally a little more blue than red. And so like, it was like that thing of like, it was really celebrating that despite being in the heart of Texas.
Yeah, but I think they used it to help themselves grow. Like, I think that was part of the, the on-ramp to sort of what we're saying for Miami, which I think is really interesting. And I think to your point, Roman, especially in this time, you are making a pretty damn clear statement about who you think wants to move to Miami.
Yeah.
Well, to me too, I see it less political than what the blue thing. Cause to me, when I mean like far away from America, I mean like far away from all of America. In my head.
Yeah, but you started from a I think geographical place, but I think it applies across.
That's what I'm saying.
I
like
talking about
the scale
if you
and
were
spectrum.
talking about the way the arts that you find in Miami is actually different.
Right.
The culinary scene is different. The blending of cultures is actually from cultures that are different. From some of them just to show up in other places, especially New York. But it is, all of it feels
different.
It's expressing unique. Without saying,
we're different.
We're great.
We're unique. We have a lot of, you're capturing uniqueness and variety and breadth, which is basically what we've been struggling with because we're like, it kind of doesn't have any one thing.
Yeah.
And now we've wrapped all of that up in the idea. And I think we still have two paths on the table. One, which is a unifying thought, which is sort of what this has become.
Right.
And one where you still take the sort of niche specificity approach. And maybe you can still do that within this. Exactly. Yeah. But I do see the most un-American American city as an idea that speaks to like it's far away from everything you know about America.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Let's go to Miami.
Okay, have we convinced you? Are you gonna check it out?
A couple
Jesse?
episodes ago, you convinced me to love LA, so now I'm just confused.
That was at least 10 episodes ago.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, and I've been kind of mad at LA, so
yeah.
Where's summer?
Yeah, me too. I've been a bit of. I mean, summer's here.
Summer's
today.
Been great.
Summer's been here for a month.
Summer's been here for 2 weeks.
Yeah, sorry, I came back.
And everyone's like, "Oh, the light's changing. Fall is coming." No, I don't want fall.
Yeah, I've been a little mad.
I feel like we had a bad summer, right?
I've been. Well, guys, it's mid-August. The summer's only starting in LA. Summer lasts until mid-October.
Yeah, I've been pretty happy.
You weren't here, Simon.
I was gone for a week.
Yeah, but then you traveled for work.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're at time. So I'm going to wrap us up, which essentially it's my role to wrap us up. But Jesse, you just wrapped up.
Sorry.
2 minutes ago. It's great. I love it. So I'm going to repeat what you said. There's two paths, but I think we can unify the path.
Yeah.
Right? I think you can go down the path of like standing for something, most un-American American city. This is
That's the timer.
Hi,
whoop, whoop.
I'm stopping the timer. While at the same time doing a proper audience segmentation, understanding what's interesting to whom of all the things we have to communicate.
Yeah.
And go from there. So, Jesse, did we crack it?
We cracked it part of the way.
All right.
I think there's not enough clarity on sort of the audience, the benefits, some of the things that I think are almost more traditional to like, as we said, kind of a brief, but I'm really interested in where we landed.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like there's some interesting starts, but I don't think we cracked it.
It's interesting.
It's
like
crackling.
6 minutes ago, we were pretty much nowhere. So we did have a bit of a breakthrough in the last 6 minutes.
Yeah.
That I think is really interesting because we all know whatever you want to position in whatever category, you need to stand for something. And I think we kind of like started to scratch the surface on what it could stand for. So not cracked, not crackable in an hour, especially without research, without knowledge, without having been there for one of us, but a fun conversation. I was curious to see how you guys felt about it, and there was a little less excitement I was hoping for. So I really need to take you there, to show you around.
All I can think about, like the whole episode, I've just got Will Smith in my head, honestly.
All right, so back to
Great
zero.
Song. Great song. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time on another episode of Crack It an Hour. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. If you like the show, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you have questions, thoughts, or feedback, shoot us an email at hello@crackitpodcast.com or on Instagram @crackitpodcast. Music done by Michael Anastasi, cover art shot by Mick Mint, and all things audio and video taken care of by Nathan Nash. See you next time.